Hello everyone, hopefully an OK Editor 357 here, and for today's video, I'll be taking a quick look at animes that I really think deserve continuations. Whether that be because the show was so good that I just want to see more, the story left off in an unsatisfactory spot, or other reasons, these are shows that I think I and a lot of other people would love to see get more seasons. Without further ado, let's hop straight into the list. First up, a relatively new anime called The Hero is Overly Powered but Overly Cautious. Basically, a goddess summons our main character Seiya to help them defeat the demon lord, or, he's called something similar to that, of some random isekai world. Gaia Brande, I believe is the name of it. The thing about Seiya is he's overly cautious, as the title might suggest, and would rather spend months at a time working out and training rather than diving headfirst into adventure like most isekai protagonists. Not a bad thing on its own, but even when it's time to start doing some hero isekai stuff, he is so cautious of everything that he's either so overly powered for a fight and can win easily, or the moment something goes unexpected, he'll back off for a few months to prepare again. This show was hilarious and unexpectedly emotional and serious towards the end. The humor was almost constant and had a very high energy, almost Looney Tunes feel to it, which is unique for an anime. The fights were entertaining to watch due to Seiya's cautious nature. All the characters are fun, memorable, and bounce off each other really well, and I really want to see where the story goes from where Season 1 left off. I'm interested to see if it would be more of a mix between the serious and heavy tones of the last couple episodes along with its great comedy, or if it would just go back to the straight up comedy routine again. I'm cool with either one, so long as it keeps up the high quality writing the first season had. The original light novels are actually being released in English, and I do plan on holding out for Season 2 for a bit longer, but if I don't think it's coming, I'll start reading the light novel since I've heard good things. Up next, The Devil Is A PartTimer. In another world, Satan has conquered all, but at the start of the series, we see him quickly get defeated by the hero of the world, Emilia, and he retreats to our world, boring and devoid of magic. Once there, he and his general who escaped with him realize their magic power is limited, and Satan, or Mao as he's called, decides he wants to conquer this newfound world. But to do so, first he needs money for food, a place to live, and all the other good stuff you need to survive in our world. So he gets a part-time job at not McDonald's and starts his journey to climb the ladder of society and rule the world, one burger flip at a time. The series is one of the best isekai parodies out there, and it came out before the big isekai boom. There's something so funny about watching Satan himself take a job at McDonald's so seriously, he would consider whether he should use some of his little magical energy left to him to heat up some fries quicker or not. All the other characters, including the hero Emilia, who follows him into our world, are hilarious and memorable with a surprising amount of depth to them. The whole thing feels like a wacky sitcom with occasional anime fights, and it really is one of the funniest anime out there. I started reading the manga adaptation a while ago, and I'd love to see the future story arcs, especially one of the more serious and emotional ones, animated to see more of these beloved characters bicker with each other and go through some great character development. And that's why I want to see The Devil Is A PartTimer get a continuation. Up next is No Game No Life. I'm sure no one's surprised this one's on the list because at this point the show is known as No Game No Season 2. Basically, the two best gamers in the world who go by the name Blank, who are also step-siblings, are sent into another world devoid of violence after beating the god of that world at an online game of chess. This world's conflicts is solved by games, eradicating the need for wars and violence completely. Anything can be bet in these games, even something as important as choosing the next king for humanity in a series of games. The two siblings quickly find that this is the world that they thrive in, one where they don't have to fit in or adhere to societal norms, but rather can climb the ranks in this world by being the best team they can be. They decide to try and fix the slightly unfair disadvantage that the human race has in this world, as well as get to the point where they can one day re-challenge the god of that world, Tet, to a rematch. The concept of a world where any conflict is solved by games is so fascinating, and the show definitely makes full use of that premise during its short run. The animation is also gorgeous and unique, and seeing the various games and challenges the siblings Sora and Shiro face along the way was really exciting. For me, it was never about how they win, because more often than not it was some nonsense or unbelievable way of victory, but how they got there. Sora and Shiro both have their own strengths and weaknesses, and watching them try to figure out the ins and outs of the game, how they can win even against magic users, any loophole in the rules, makes for an exciting and fun to watch time. Also, the soundtrack is great and the show is hilarious at times. I have read the first novel and really did enjoy it, and I probably will read the rest in the future, but I would kill to see the rest of No Game No Life's unique and fun story in the gorgeous animation of the show. Up next is Konosuba, God's Blessing on This Wonderful World. Yet another parody of the isekai genre, or really just anime tropes in general, but one that actually stands out well enough on its own as a great show. Our main character, Kazuma, dies a not embarrassing death and is greeted by the goddess Aqua, who will send him into another world with one thing he chooses. She does this after brutally mocking him, so Kazuma decides to take her with him to this newfound world, and sure enough, she gets sent to this new world with him in a quest to defeat the Demon Lord. The two quickly forget about this objective, however, and get used to a life of adventuring to make money and basically live in comfort, meeting two crazy but endearing party members along the way. This show is hilarious. Each of the main cast is a parody of an anime trope to show you just how over the top and crazy these tropes really are, and how much they would probably suck to deal with in real life. Despite this, the characters are all still really likable with their few redeeming qualities, and over the course of the series, they form a makeshift family of sorts, and you get the sense that despite their constant bickering and harassment to each other, they do really care for each other and enjoy adventuring. The animation is really bright and fun, the plot is wacky and action-packed, and overall it's just a fun time and, ironically enough, probably one of the best isekai out there. I've actually started reading the light novels from where the second season of the anime left off, and the different stories that have yet to been adapted have the potential for some great visual comedy, as well as some more serious at times storytelling and character development. Although the light novels aren't the same without the stellar voice cast, I highly recommend giving them a read if you want more Konosuba. And I was able to hear all the voices in my head while reading them since I got so attached to the voice actors. Either that, or it's the demons in my head and they're trying to imitate the voices of characters from anime I've watched. I don't know, one or the other. All that praise for the light novels being said, I still want to see the series continued with its fun and over-the-top animation, amazing voice acting, and great visual humor and gags. On to the last anime I'll be talking about in this video. Norigami. Norigami is the story of Yato, a minor god, and the various obstacles he faces along his way of trying to become a more recognized deity. Some of these problems arising from his, interesting past. Noragami had such an interesting concept and world, with how the system of the heavens and the world of gods work. Yato ends up getting a human girl Hiyori involved in otherworldly affairs, and seeing a human's point of view in contrast with how the god society works made for such an interesting contrast. The idea that a god can do no wrong because they are a god is called into question, and the various characters, both deities and otherwise, all had their own interesting backstories and character arcs to go through throughout the series. The story was unique, the animation was great, which made the epic fight scenes really stand out. The soundtrack, especially the openings, is very memorable, and unfortunately the anime stopped before reaching some of the most intense story arcs of the story. I started reading the manga, and it is a crazy ride as new threats and more about the world of Noragami is revealed. And I forgot to mention it, but the show is absolutely hilarious at times, and the manga keeps that going as well. My personal favorite character in the series, and this only happened as I continued reading the manga, is Nora. Noragami, much like Fullmetal Alchemist, has that perfect blend of comedy, action, and serious character drama that I love so much in the show, and I would love to see the ever-improving story of Noragami animated. Also, I just want more of the opening songs because the two opening songs we do have are both amazing and definitely some of the most unique anime openings out there. All the reasons I've been talking about for the past minute or so is why I want to see the Noragami anime get more seasons. Well, that's it for this video. I hope you enjoyed watching me talk about anime I desperately want to continue. And tell me down below in the comments what anime you think should get more seasons. Thank you everyone for watching, and see you guys in the next video, which will be tomorrow since it's NonStopNovember.